I think we can all agree that Pottery Barn has such a beautiful home decor aesthetic, but who can afford it? So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how to get a Pottery Barn inspired look, but on a thrift store budget. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off with furniture, which is arguably the most important area if you're really trying to save and furnish your space, but doing so on a budget. While I do go in with a list of furniture pieces that I'd like to have, I also just try to keep an open mind. After my daughter moved out of the crib, we kind of just got like a temporary twin bed solution. So I had it on my list to find something that resembled this bed from Pottery Barn. And over time, eventually I came across this bed here. It was only $12 originally from Wayfair, but very reminiscent to the bed that I had saved as inspiration from Pottery Barn. Just made sure all of the pieces were in fact included. The only thing really, I guess, wrong with this bed were there was just natural wear and tear scuff marks. So I just went on Amazon for about $6. I ordered a furniture marker to match the bed and just concealed all of those scuff marks. The bed that I really loved from Pottery Barn was almost $650. So just by shopping secondhand, making a tweak or two, I'm able to save a significant amount of money by shopping secondhand. However, more often than not, it's not like you just walk into the thrift store the first time, find exactly what you're looking for, no DIY needs to be done. But what I like to ask myself, this is why I say I like to keep an open mind, is I just think of every furniture piece as material. So are the materials in this furniture piece able to be transformed into the furniture piece that I'm really looking for? This is one of those above the toilet shelf stands. I'm not really in need of one of those. However, as we're getting into gardening season, we're starting all of our seeds now. I wanted to have a place in my office where my kids can also track their progress, but also in an aesthetic way. So all we're gonna do with this shelf stand here is remove the bottom piece, which would initially be left room for obviously a toilet. And I'm just going to do that, taking some quick measurements, and then I'm going to take it out to my circular saw on some sawhorses, just remove that bottom section there. Now that the top piece has become the bottom piece, I added some wood glue initially, and then I also tapered the angles so that it would meet in the middle. I just took my nail gun, secured those in place. In order for them to connect at the top, I just used an L bracket. The problem with the L bracket was it was a bit too wide, so I had to push it down in order for it to be the correct angle for the top of this shelf. Could definitely choose to stop here, but I wanted to give it a more modern look, so I just decided to wipe it down and then just go in with some Krylon black satin spray paint, and then of course seal it. Brought it into the office, placed all of our seed starters, and this is working out really well. Because this is a temporary piece of furniture, we're not always starting seeds, but during this time of year, it's nice to save where you can, but still get all of your needs met. Another quick example of that, when we are hosting, especially in the summer, I like to be able to have some sort of a bar cart or tray. Now, again, I didn't find a bar cart, I found a laundry cart, but the concept is really the same. So this bar cart was just $5. I don't need a laundry cart. My laundry is way down in our basement. So carts like this don't really make sense for my space, but it gives me the basic structure I need to create a bar cart. Bar carts that are woven with a wood detail or a brass detail, even from affordable stores like Target, can be upwards around $100. So when I'm pretty confident I can make this for about $30, I am all for it. So taking the bar cart, took some quick measurements, went to the hardware store, grabbed 2 of these 3-feet panels because they were the exact dimensions that I needed. If you do not have a miter saw, if you do not have a circular saw, you can have them cut the wood there for you. And essentially what I'm doing is just making custom trays to fit on both the top and the bottom of this was once laundry cart, which will now be a bar cart for hosting. If you have a miter saw that slides out, I unfortunately don't. So I started with my miter saw and then popped it on some sawhorses and then just continued on with my circular saw. You don't necessarily need to add the trim around the piece of wood, but I thought that it would make it look more like a tray if it was there. So I just had this scrap trim in my stash, just taking my miter saw, took some quick measurements, cut those down as well. In order to attach all of these trim pieces around each tray, I like to generally start out with Gorilla wood glue, just paint it on and then clamp that down for about an hour or so. And then I will go in with my nail gun, fill all of the holes, sand them down, and then it is prepped for stain or paint. In order to kill a lot of the yellow undertones that just don't work with my space, I decided to first go in with a driftwood spray paint just to mask again those yellow undertones. Also applied that same spray paint to the cart itself, so that way when I'm wrapping the rattan around, it's less noticeable if there is a small gap. With that all dry, now it's just time to go in with stain. Initially, I went in with a more driftwood-like stain combination, but decided to change it up and go with the stain coffee, so it's a nice dark chocolate brown for the trays. With the trays complete, now it's just time to work on the actual cart. So you could really expedite this DIY and just paint it with some metallic brass spray paint or textured black spray paint to give it a more iron-like look, and you can buzz through this DIY really quickly. I really love a woven look in a bar cart. I think it just feels very Tulum, very vacation vibes, which is perfect for spring and summer. One thing about me is if I have an excess amount of material from leftover projects, I really try to use it up in other areas in my space, not only because does that add to the cohesion of my space, but also it's not just sitting collecting dust in a closet somewhere. And still have so much of this woven material left over, so I decided to just wrap the entire cart with this material as well as in another project we'll get to next. Now for styling. If you are somebody who struggles with styling, my best advice is just to look at the item you're trying to style. Just do a quick Google search and see how your favorite designers are styling something that looks pretty similar. Make a list, go to the thrift store, try to find things that are similar or that could be similar, and you would be really surprised at how close you can really get, but by saving a ton in the process. One of the most important areas in design is lighting. Lighting can really affect how your space feels and looks, and it is so expensive when you shop designer. It's still kind of expensive when you shop the Target home goods route. So I always recommend going to the thrift store because you would be so surprised the beautiful lights that you can find, and even if they're not so beautiful like this lamp here, you can turn them into something really beautiful. Again, especially for spring and summer, I love to incorporate that woven element into my decor. So best advice, find a lamp that you're maybe not necessarily crazy about. You could even do this to a lamp that you might already have. Maybe you're considering donating it. Instead of donating it, I spent very little money on all of this material, and it has stretched out to 3 different projects, and I still have some left over. So this is kind of a monotonous, time-consuming project, but it's super straightforward and easy. Anybody can really do this. Throw on your favorite movie or podcast and just keep gluing and wrapping, gluing and wrapping. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Because I used hot glue, sometimes there's strands that stick out, so I just like to take a blow dryer so I see where they're at and I just pull them off so it gives a more finished look. Because this lamp did not come with a shade, I had to get a little creative, we'll call it. So I had this Uno lamp shade in my stash, decided to use that as an anchor for the other shade that I found that was just $3 at Crazy Bins. And I'm just going to stack this shade on top of the shade that I already had, just to give it a more proportionate look, but then also still be able to sit upright. You can also take this component and add it to the other lampshade, but for the sake of time, this is just an easier way, and you get a really similar look to something that can cost hundreds of dollars, just around the $12 price point. If you're not new to this channel, you guys know I love a wall sconce. So when I found these at Target for just $5, I instantly had to pick up a few. We are just going to use one for this project. Rattan and woven wall sconces from some of your favorite high-end designers can be very expensive. So I had found this wall sconce months ago. It's just been sitting in my stash. It was just $2. Initially, my thought was to wrap the shade around with, again, that woven material. But when I found these, I thought this would make the perfect shade for this sconce. So the only thing I had to do was take apart the sconce. I needed to keep this bottom component so that way it would still slide into the holes that are attached to the wall. So I just took that, placed it inside of the scalloped basket. You can also choose to hardwire this if you have an existing sconce there and you're just wanting to swap them out, but because I don't, I like to go the chargeable or battery operated light route. The only thing I didn't love was the color of the sconce, so I just gave it a few coats of some metallic brass spray paint, connected the two pieces together. Something similar at Anthropologie, at Pottery Barn Kids would be a small fortune. So the fact that this is just $7 and you get a really similar look is a really great price point. So because we changed up the lamp on her dresser, I also wanted to change the mirror behind it. So I decided that I wanted to do something because her existing mirror was already woven and it was just too much of the same material. So I wanted to find something that was this shape. Lo and behold, I was just about to leave the thrift store, thought maybe better check one more time the mirrors, and then this guy came out for just $8. This is normally from Hobby Lobby, $129.99. You could add one of these details. You can pick these up at Lowe's or Home Depot, glue them on, spray paint it, and you can get a more vintage inspired look. But I just wanted something really streamlined and clean. So the fact that this was just $8 and something similar at Pottery Barn is almost $400, I think is a major savings. And with all that being said, that really wraps it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys showing up week after week, checking on me when I'm not posting on Sunday. Let me know down in the comments which hack or find or project was your favorite this week. I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you back here next Sunday. Bye for now.